What's up, everybody watching on YouTube? Now, last time I did one of these Hearthstone card lists, I did the top 10 neutral legendary cards that you want to include in your Hearthstone collection in order to win in ranked play. And there was a reason I did that. The reason I took it and made it a neutral legendary list instead of adding, let's say, a top 10 best cards to have in the game list is because, in general, neutral legendary cards are the best cards you can get in the game. They can be spread out amongst all classes, and you could switch it up with new decks as the meta continues to move forward. But in this list, it will be a top 5 legendary list for class specifics, for the reason that some classes, if you want to play that specific class, you really should have these specific cards in your deck. And that is why we're going to do this. I mean, there is only 27 class legendary cards in the game, and it was hard enough to narrow it down to a list of 5. But let's take a look, and you guys can tell me later what you think. Here we go. On to number 5. Coming in at the number 5 spot on our list is Ganis. Ganis was introduced into Hearthstone in the Goblin vs. Gnomes pack expansion, and he continues to be used in a variety of Warlock decks this day. He's been used in Zoo, and he's been used in Hand, so he's used in Control and Aggro decks, basically. Ganis also, if you can mulligan cards and pull him out early with Void Caller, usually creates a mess for your opponents. If you're able to get him out on turn 9 and you have a number of demons on the board and your opponent is unable to deal with it with Big Game Hunter, it usually will cost him his entire board. If you can't deal with it, most likely you're going to be able to finish him off next turn. Ganis is a staple in the Warlock collection, and that's why I leave him at the number 5 spot. Now we go on to number 4. Coming in at the number 4 spot on this list is Jaraxxus, Eridar, Lord of the Burning Legion, and yet another Warlock class legendary. Jaraxxus, anytime he's played, restores your health to 15 no matter where you're at, gives you a 3/8 weapon, and has the ability to drop Infernos. If Jaraxxus isn't put in check within one turn, those Infernos can get extremely overwhelming, especially if you're holding Defenders of Argus. It usually spells the end, or starts to spell the end. Jaraxxus' downfalls is that he could get sack packed. I mean, every single one of these legendary cards has its weaknesses, but when a card gets continually played in so many different variances of Warlock decks, hell, I've seen him in Demon Zoo decks as well, that should tell you something. This is a card you definitely want to have in your collection if you are planning on playing the Warlock class, and that is why he takes the number 4 spot on this list. Now we move on to number 3. Coming in at the number 3 slot on our list is Archmage Antonitus from the Mage class. Archmage Antonitus can be obtained through Hearthstone Classic packs and has pretty much been a staple of Mage decks since Classic. I would probably say 75% of Mage decks run this card. You see it in Mech Mage, you see it in Casino Mage, and is an absolute necessity if you want to play Freeze Mage, which is one of the best decks to ladder with at this point. I mean, you have a 5/7 body on the board, and when you cast your spells, you get a Fireball train coming at you. Yeah, this card needs to be dealt with immediately, and that is why he makes it as the number 3 card on this list. Now we get to number 2. Coming in at the number 2 spot is grenache Hellscream from the Warrior class. This was very debatable whether this one would take number 1 or not, but it came down to a few factors in the end. Now, we'll start off by saying the reason this is one of the best legendaries and an absolute necessity to have in Warrior decks. I main Warrior, and if you plan to play Warrior, you need this card in your deck. I mean, other than Grim Patron, which occasionally did run grenache Hellscream, I really can't think of too many Warrior decks that don't run it. I mean, you get the occasional aggro Warrior decks out there, but they're really not that relevant. I mean, Control Warrior, absolute necessity. This card is needed. Now, you have a 4/9 card on the board that charges, that can be activated with Cruel Taskmaster for 12, which makes it for a great finishing card, or it can be used as a card to clear the board in emergency situations, gain huge control on a board, and absolutely force your opponent to deal with this card. This card has so many different ways it can screw you over in the end, but it is susceptible to Big Game Hunter, and that is what got grenache the number 2 spot on this list. But if you want to play the warrior class, trust me on this one, guys, you absolutely need grenache Hellscream. Now, we get on to number 1. Coming in at the number 1 spot on our list is Tirion Fordring from the Paladin class. This card can be obtained through Hearthstone Classic packs. Tirion Fordring is one of the best cards in the entire game and an absolute necessity if you want to play the Paladin class, in my opinion. A 6/6 with a Divine Shield makes him extremely difficult to remove since he's out of Big Game Hunter range, and after he's removed, you get a 5/3 Ashbringer. So that's 15 damage you're able to put out from that weapon alone. This card just screams value and must get in your collection, and that is why Tirion is, I unfortunately have to say, the by far best class legendary in Hearthstone. So this takes us to the end of everything. Now I want you to remember something. When going through this list, you have to be specific about which class you want to play before you craft any of these. I mean, if you're going to be a mage player, obviously you want to craft Archmage and Tinnitus. This goes based on your personal preferences. This is just my opinion and what I think the order for best class legendaries in Hearthstone are. So, I want to say to everybody, thank you for watching this video. If you like what I'm doing, throw me a like or a sub. It really helps. Let me know in the comment section if you disagree with my list. Also, let me know in the comment section what other Hearthstone videos you would like to see from me. Everyone, thanks again for watching. Have a good night or day wherever you are.